Way forward, suggestions, recommendations. 1. There is a need to update anti-money laundering legislation for strengthening the rule of law. 2. There should also be judicious implementation of existing laws with efficient and speedy investigation. 3. Law enforcement agencies like FIA and NAB need to devise effective strategies and mechanisms to increase cooperation at the domestic, regional, and international level to keep track of the activities that are directly or indirectly linked to money laundering. 4. A continual and strict security on porous international borders and at airports will prevent smugglers and money launderers from moving cash from one region to another. 5. Furthermore, by keeping a strict check on wire transfers and other methods of currency transfers, financial institutions can also play their role in tracking laundered money as well as the sources of the money, and consequently report any suspicious money transfer to the security agencies. 6. In addition, tax authorities such as FBR need to devise thorough and investigative auditing strategies in order to keep track of elites' incomes so that no one can launder cash to avoid taxes. For this purpose, tax revenue departments should also be made independent and sufficiently powerful so that they may not be bribed or influenced politically by any powerful elite. 7. Furthermore, corruption and bribery are other problems that accompany money laundering because a corrupt person will prefer to hide money acquired through bribes or corruption to avoid being tracked and penalized by law enforcement authorities. 8. Controlling money laundering demands expertise and consistency. Money launderers have shown themselves through time to be extremely imaginative in creating new schemes to circumvent a particular government's countermeasures. A national system must be flexible enough to be able to detect and respond to new money laundering schemes. Number 9. Anti-money laundering measures often force launderers to move to parts of the economy with weak or ineffective measures to deal with the problem. Again, a national system must be flexible enough to be able to extend countermeasures to new areas of its own economy. Finally, national governments need to work with other jurisdictions to ensure that launderers are not able to continue to operate merely by moving to another location in which money laundering is tolerated. 10. Multilateral initiatives, large-scale money laundering schemes invariably contain cross-border elements. Since money laundering is an international problem, international cooperation is a critical necessity in the fight against it. A number of initiatives have been established for dealing with the problem at the international level. 11. International organizations, such as the United Nations or the Bank for International Settlements, took some initial steps at the end of the 1980s to address the problem. Following the creation of the FATF in 1989, regional groupings, the European Union, Council of Europe, Organization of American States, to name just a few, established anti-money laundering standards for their member countries. The Caribbean, Asia, Europe, and Southern Africa have created regional anti-money laundering task force-like organizations, and similar groupings are planned for Western Africa and Latin America in the coming years. Conclusion: money laundering causes negative effects on the economy, such as devaluing capital, lowering the growth rate, affecting interest rates and the CPI, causing inflation, and defaming financial institutions, which leads to cutting opportunities for domestic and foreign direct investment. Curbing money laundering will cause a major decline in other criminal activities, such as drug trafficking and terrorist financing. To end this menace, strong legislation, strengthening the rule of law, close liaison of anti-money laundering agencies at the national and international levels, effective monitoring at borders, and strict accountability of politicians and the elites are required.